I want to say hello to all of you who I recognize and know, and this is one of the very few webcasts that we have done or will do that are specifically and only for PBSI clients. So I want to thank each of you for your long-term, in many cases, and new, in some cases, partnerships with PBSI. Your trust in PBSI is very much appreciated, and I hope you know that every day we do our best to be paying attention on your behalf as to what's important for you. So from that care comes today's webcast. We're going to talk about a new to PBSI and to our client security product called SentinelOne Endpoint Detection and Response, EDR. The goal today is to inform, as always. I want to say that the product I'm going to demonstrate today is very, very interesting. It is not required. So this is something that bears serious consideration for everybody. But anybody who watches today's webcast and sees what this product does and says, I don't think we need that, you will not find objection from me or from us. This is very interesting, and I hope to make clear why it's interesting and what its benefits are. But I just want you to know that if you do nothing, just exactly what you're doing now, each of you being protected by Bitdefender antivirus and PBSI monitoring as it currently exists, you're very well protected. So what we're going to talk about is, what is this thing called EDR? Why are we talking about it? Endpoint detection and response. It's a category of software. What is it? How does it work? We'll do a demonstration, including a couple of short videos, and we'll talk about what does that mean and what are the options for PBSI clients. So why do we talk about EDR? Those of you who don't follow the security industry so carefully as I do, this may be surprising, but I doubt if it is. These are statistics that come from this really excellent cybersecurity report from the Poneman Institute. Anyway, 67% of small and medium-sized businesses have been affected by a cyber attack. 82% of those successful attacks were not stopped by traditional antivirus. And you might wonder, well, wait a minute, if it's a successful attack, none of them were stopped. But my presumption here must be the other 18% didn't have that kind of protection on their PCs. In any event, successful attacks get past traditional defenses. And this is understood. The security world will never be perfect. So the changing landscape, increasingly, malware is being transformed at a faster rate than anyone can keep up with. And this is maybe a very interesting statistic. It's estimated there are 350,000 new variations every day. Threats are not always recognizable by traditional antivirus. And this has the term for this is zero-day attacks, or 0 days, where there are no pre-recognition factors that can be seen because the attack morphed on contact. So you have 0 days to prepare. And this is increasingly being used. The malware vendors are getting smarter and smarter. So EDR provides a reasonable value as ransomware insurance. And that's the way I now think of EDR, ransomware insurance. So the cost of SentinelOne, for anybody who currently has their monitoring and Bitdefender antivirus from PBSI, $4 per month per PC. So for a 20-user network, that's $960 a year. For a 10-user network, it's $480 a year. And if all this did for you was provide rollback protection for ransomware, many of you would consider it well worth it. So I'm going to go through and just give more information so that you can evaluate on your own. So EDR is a category of software. You can look up best antivirus solutions, and you'll find Bitdefender at the top, 1 or 2 or 3, depending on the rating service. When you look up EDR best solutions, you'll find there's a whole category of those as well. And the general description given is EDR solutions evaluate endpoint, that's PC system level behaviors, using analytics to detect suspicious behavior, block malicious activity, and provide remediation suggestions. In fact, there are a couple of things that separate the SentinelOne product from really any of the other EDR products in the market that we're aware of. Is SentinelOne does more than suggest how to remediate. That would be suggestions made to the technicians at PBSI. In fact, it self-remediates, and you'll see a demonstration of this. EDR is the leading edge of a category of software products called Security Incident and Event Management, SIEM. So apparently the IT industry and the security industry specifically love acronyms. I don't, but I'm trying to bring us onto the same page. So how is EDR different than traditional antivirus? Traditional antivirus evaluates signatures. EDR looks at active processes. Signature would be a file name, which is commonly called a hash. The hash is the actual representation of the file, regardless of whether somebody's renamed it differently. And signatures include text in script files or text in files that pass through a firewall, and they're evaluated, and they come to a desktop and they're evaluated, and signatures are things that are recognized. So the reason that your Bitdefender antivirus gets, you may not know this, but it gets 8 or 10 or 12 updates per day. We can see on the dashboard how many times each of your PCs get updated, and ours at PBSI. And the reason for all these frequent updates is that there are just new signatures all the time. Well, we can't keep up. That's the basic problem. So EDR watches active processes in memory as they run in real time, watching activity, including lateral movement. Lateral movement is a description of a particularly dangerous thing that happens with some malware. Virtually all ransomware is that it tries to move from the device it infects across the network laterally to other PCs or servers or whatever else it can get to. So these processes are being watched by EDR, and you'll see how this works. It protects from polymorphic threats, the industry name for, very simply, a threat that takes different characteristics with each incident. So it morphs, and you'll see a demonstration of an example where the original one and a new variation are both seen and how they're dealt with. And there are infinite variations. So EDR finds and blocks some threats that are missed by traditional antivirus. In our experience, the number of times where we're finding legitimate threats through EDR that weren't found through antivirus are fairly limited. That's the good news, is we see that the Bitdefender protection you already have is pretty darn good. But there are some that are found, and so far we haven't found anything that's earth-shattering. But the fact is the process it uses will make it more capable. It's a very interesting thing that it provides EDR, SentinelOne's EDR provides forensic history. I'll show you how this works, but it allows, if an attack has taken place, for us to see exactly what path it took and what was affected. It's really quite incredible. But the single most important feature of SentinelOne's EDR is a unique rollback feature. You'll see how this works, where once a device is encrypted, or excuse me, attacked by whatever malware or ransomware, ransomware in particular, will go about encrypting files and attacking other devices on the network. And this rollback feature, one button, and undoes all of that. And that's pretty incredible technology, and it's really the reason that we're doing this webcast today. So we sent this an email rating of EDR. SentinelOne is the highest rated product out there, but it's only been available to large organizations recently. It's because of their integration by SolarWinds, who is the vendor we use for dashboard monitoring. It's because of that integration that this product's available to you and us, smaller organizations who haven't had the ability to have this kind of feature available. So this unique rollback feature is really important. I have one quote on the screen here, which I thought was interesting. This is a Facebook post of another security company like PBSI. So I don't know who Jason Miller is. I don't know how accurate this is, but I thought his comments were interesting. He had apparently just installed SentinelOne. They're another SolarWinds reseller, so they had Bitdefender installations. And what's interesting to me is that this company also supports clients with WebRoot and Sophos and Symantec. And in each case, it fairly immediately found infections that were not found by the antivirus product when SentinelOne was installed. So his comment, this stuff is amazing, awesome stuff, well worth the extra money. Well, that's for you to determine individually, but the fact is, to a security technician, it's awesome stuff. Okay, I'm going to go and do a short demonstration from what we've learned in a set of clients and at PBSI where we've installed this. And I'm going to go to our monitoring dashboard. And All I have to do is find our monitoring dashboard. No, I don't want that. This is the traditional PBSI dashboard where we're monitoring clients. So all of you are represented here. We click on a certain client and subdivide, and here are all the PCs. In this case, I've selected PBSI, and these are all the PCs at PBSI, and Bitdefender continues to work, and I'm not going to go into the routine things we do day in and day out, but we can see what's going on each device. We can see whether software patches are up to date, whether antivirus has found any activity, whether backup's running successfully in that device, and so forth. What happens when we install SentinelOne, this will be embedded into the same dashboard, but there's also a separate dashboard that we can see, and this is the dashboard that we see right now. So we have this installed on 64 different endpoints. These are PCs. And what this shows is we have 286 threats that are out there. The word unresolved actually isn't accurate. Virtually all of these have been resolved. But at 5 p.m. yesterday, I asked our dashboard technicians to stop resolving anything that comes up so that I would have something to demonstrate. And as a result, we have what this shows as 7 active threats. And you can see that this 278, these are the ones that have been mitigated. They've already been resolved out of 286. And I'm going to just go to a couple of these. The way this dashboard works, as opposed to being by customer and by device, it's by time. So the most recent thing that happened was on November 20th at 7:21. This was identified, and at 6:45 and at 2:50 and so forth. So we can see these were the ones that came in on the 20th. These were the ones seen on the 19th and so forth. It's back in time sequence. And what it shows me is what was found on what device and how many times has it occurred. So if I clicked on this, it would show me 16 different PCs on which this same thing, and where are they, and so the technician can drill from there. But I want to show an example of something that is demonstrating the functionality of the EDR software in that it finds something that might be a threat. It turns out this is not a threat. This is a software update. It found this, but what it found, it recognized on the dashboard, sorry, as, find this again, it's not sure if it's a threat. There's a orange, so you note that there are some red. It's the same as the regular dashboard where red means this is likely a problem. Orange means it may be a problem. Well, in this case, it found this, and then our dashboard technicians get some information over here. And I'm not going to try and describe all of the things that are going on, but this is how it was detected. What was it about the behavior of this that caused the underlying software to discern it might be a problem? But there's a history that's been created, and this is what I want to show you. First of all, it says, where is it connected? So we're in Cincinnati. This connected to someplace. If I double-clicked and drilled in, this is someplace in California. Well, that's actually a software vendor who's delivering a software patch. But we could see that the file on the PC immediately went out and made a connection. So if it were in Russia or someplace else, you could see that immediately. So the technicians are given increasing information. The attack overview, this is shown. Some other things were 708 events related to this, 647 file operations. They're rated, so there's nothing over here in the red, high security. So this is still, we're not sure if this is a problem. It's just doing a lot of different things. Then the storyline, this is where forensics is captured. And in this case, it turns out to be a benign event that doesn't require anything. But here's the sequence. The first thing that happened, the technician can click on this and learn where is it located, what is its file name, what's its evaluated risk, and there's what's its IP address, some other things. And as each different event takes place, there's more information. So then here, there was a process that was started in that process, and then another process that was started. And the history there, if we had to report, is this a security breach, what files got impacted, where did it go on the network? It's very, very useful information. And of course, I'm not going to drill any further, but there were a bunch of files that were impacted, and again, turned out not to be a problem. But when I return to the dashboard, you can see that that was just one incident. And when that kind of thing takes place, we would mark that as benign and it would no longer show up. So I'm now going to go to a second one that came in just earlier, called PC Hunter. This, I'm not a technician, but the signer's identity seems to be in a different language, and this has been quarantined. So the idea is that this has been mitigated, the problem's been stopped, but one of the things we can do is we can find out on a couple of different websites what other detection engines are aware of this. And so I clicked on that, and it shows me as a technician that these engines detected it, where you see a red mark here, WebRoot detected it. But if you go down to some of these others, Avast and whatever, these don't show it as detected. Now, 5 minutes from now or 2 days from now, they might, because their recognition engine might have caught up. But here's a case where this, in fact, is a malicious, unsafe, riskware, Trojan malware. These vendors each categorize it differently. But this is a case where the EDR product found a problem and flagged it for us, and now the technician can do something with it. Okay, so I wanted to give you a bit of background as to how this works, but I'm going to now go and do a couple of very short videos that demonstrate a really key rollback feature. You're going to see silently, I'll talk this through. This is, in fact, a ransomware attack taking place. So this is a PC where there is a set of files. These are pictures in a folder. And what you're going to see, I'm going to let this go forward, is that those pictures will go away and the names will change. That's what ransomware does. So this is what happened. Somebody clicked on that Word document, and you'll see all of a sudden now these have been renamed and they've been encrypted and the different names have been added, and you'll see some processes going on over here on the right-hand side. This is ransomware at work. So, and this is the warning message that appeared on the end user screen. If you've ever seen this, you will hate this screen because it says you now have 11 hours and 59 minutes to respond. And so now the EDR dashboard detects the threat and comes here, and what's happening right now, I just stopped this, is the technician clicks the rollback button. And when the rollback button is clicked, magic will take place. So once that is clicked, that ransomware attack, which was successful and files were encrypted, is about to be undone before your eyes. So I'm not a magician, but now these files that you see are about to appear back in their former state as they've been restored. So that is a short demonstration of the magic of EDR in process. I'm going to do one other short demonstration, and we're going to get to completion. We'll be finished shortly.
This episode was brought to you by Pen Tester Academy, the leader in online.
So I'm using the speakers on my PC. I hope this is not inconvenient for you, and I'm going to allow this video to take place. But I want you to know that what's going on here, this is a video of a security webcast where there's an interviewer who frankly is quite annoying, interviewing a SentinelOne key person who's going to demonstrate this. Now, he talks really fast. He talks to an audience of security professionals. So I'm just going to quickly tell you some of the things he's going to say so you can recognize. But he'll talk about 0 days. He'll talk about 2 ways to catch a threat. One by reputation, that's by seeing the file name, the hash. The other, which is unique to EDR, is the machine learning. He'll talk about polymorphic malware. That's what changes itself. When he talks about a hash, think file name, and he'll talk about crypto locking my box. Well, that's my PC. That's where ransomware is doing its job. And you'll hear him say that it's impossible to get ransomware past us being SentinelOne. Kind of a funny comment. And I'll let him speak from there.
security companies and give an inside look at the people and technology behind the latest advancements in the industry. Today, I will be speaking with the company SentinelOne. I'm sitting down right now with Chris Bates, who's going to show us a demo of the platform. Take it away.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to demonstrate the SentinelOne Endpoint Protection Platform. We're basically going to do some pre-execution prevention using both reputation and machine learning.
Okay.
Then we're going to do some ransomware. We're going to crypto lock a box. Then we're going to recover it using SentinelOne platform. And then finally, we're going to show you how DeepViz can solve some very interesting issues with its encrypted visibility.
Oh, good. Okay.
First thing is I have two files over here I downloaded from VirusTotal. One is basically a known hash. The other one is the exact same file, but we've modified the hash in a different way. So it's kind of like morphing, think of it as polymorphic malware.
Okay.
So as you can see, we've detected both threats. It disappeared. If we open the console, I can now see them. So if I go and analyze and look at the details of the threats, what we're going to see really quick is the first one is caught because of known reputation. So it's a known bad hash. The reason we use that is it's the least expensive way to catch malware. So from a system resource standpoint, from every other standpoint, it's the least taxing on the system. So if we can eliminate the threat just by using the least taxing, we do that.
Okay.
So as you can see, we caught that one. Next we're going to look at is one that is pretty much simulates like a 0-day or something that is unknown.
Okay.
So as you can see, it wasn't caught by reputation. It was caught by our machine learning engine or our DFI engine. But what we do show you is kind of, again, the indicators. Why did we think that it was malicious? So the main problem with like machine learning is, as an example, it's a mathematical algorithm that may have 31,000 variables, and the total sum of the variables will come up with a score, and that score is what predicts it's malicious or not. And most people are like, well, why did it do that? And it's really hard to explain in detail, but what we have done is taken like the big buckets that kind of simulate the different parts of the model and summed up what scored really high. So in this case, you can see like abnormalities, hiding in stealth, it was packed. These give indicators of why we thought that file was malicious. So the analyst has a little bit more information to go on.
Okay, cool.
The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crypto lock my box. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this over to detect only mode. So this is kind of like a traditional EDR tool. I'm going to tell you you have a problem, but I'm going to leave it up to you to figure out what to do with the problem, right? The reason I'm doing that is because, frankly, it's impossible to get ransomware past this. So for the demo, I'm putting it in here.
Okay.
So I'm going to give it a minute to pick up the policy. And what happens is basically the agents can check into the server, find out it's changed its policy, and then we're going to run the file. So here you'll see I have a bunch of my little mini dudes. Really cool. So I'm going to open up an Excel document. This Excel document is going to simulate something like a phishing attack.
Okay.
Right? So I've sent you a document. I'm going to try to get you, I'm going to type for you to open the document. In this case, it looks like a budget document or an ordering document, financial data. Almost everyone is going to enable macros because that's what's there. And then it's saying that it needs to download the data to get the most current thing. Okay, I'm going to do that.
Oh.
So as soon as we can do that, we can see the threats detected. It's now out there running. So I'm going to minimize this window, and what we should see here shortly is the minions get encrypted. As it's doing that, I'm actually going to go over and look at the forensics. So you can see it's already got encrypted, they're already toast, it's already got the background.
Wow.
So at this point, most people would burn this box. It's dead, go recover, do what you're going to do. So let's go look at the activities over here, and we'll see that we hit on it, example right there. So let's go look at what we're actually going to see. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually verify, we know it's bad, so I'm going to start the rollback process, and then I'm going to explain what's happening as the rollback process is going on, and I'll explain how that works. So what we can see from the console is specifically how many times, so it's a threat we've used, so we've seen it's 20 times, it's 20 times in the environment. You can see where it ran from, so it's case off the desktop. More importantly, we can actually see an attack storyline, which is a forensic representation of specifically what did the attack do, what processes did it call. Each one of these processes, what did they actually do from an event standpoint? So that's one process, but you can see like server, which is the ransomware, start effect file, it's called other processes, to get a forensic idea of what happened. And the forensics go into raw data where we can see so far it's affected 173 files on the box. It's called 14 different processes, so I can see kind of like the download from the C2 right there. I can see the persistence via the scheduled pass. So now I know specifically what this thing actually did, right?
Yep.
But even with a traditional EDR solution, it can tell me what it did, but my box is still hosed. So I got to go re-image the box, recover it from backup, right?
Right.
So if you notice, I did click the rollback command up here, right? So if I go to my machine, you'll notice my minions are back.
Yes.
The only thing that's not been restored is my desktop. And technically, the desktop has been restored. The issue with the desktop is it's a cached image. So until I refresh or reissue the command to change it, it won't reflect that. So what I'm going to do is log off, log back on, and when it logs back on, I've now recovered a completely crypto-locked box.
Nice.
In a couple seconds.
Okay, so better than I could demonstrate. Hope that helped you. So what's a summary of what we've learned? Multi-layer security is a principle that we try to follow for every client. We're including a firewall, putting appropriate software on a desktop to protect it, monitoring the desktop, using tools like advanced threat protection in Office 365 that prevents damage from clicks. EDR is a further step in protection in that it finds some level, but I won't say, based on our experience, a significant level of real threats that antivirus doesn't catch. So in terms of prevention improvement, I want to say our experience is that it's marginally better. It's better, but not critical. But in disaster recovery, where we have online backup that's protected from ransomware, here, this is where there's a leap forward. Ransomware rollback provides the ultimate in ransomware protection. So what translation would I make for recommending for you what to do? This is an excellent product and well worth it if you believe that ransomware protection is worth the cost. So any one of you, we won't just automatically send you a quote, but ask us by email. You can do that, and when you leave the webinar, we'll send a quote to you. You can decide to do it anytime, with or without a 30-day trial, where it takes us a couple of hours to set up and then monitoring. So basically, we're trying to just get a small setup fee recovered, and licensing will be included. If you want to have this done for 30 days, we'll do it for any of you for 30 days, flat fee of $140, and then we'll connect online and show you what actually has happened, what we've seen on your devices. And just so you know, that 30-day trial will likely not show a thwarted ransomware attack. The real reason you're going to do this, if you do it, is to thwart that ransomware attack that might happen in 6 months. And so this 30-day trial won't really tell you everything you want to know, just a comment in advance. So the third option is do nothing. You're already very well protected. Bitdefender is excellent. We have not seen significant additional protection come from EDR that wasn't already there with Bitdefender. So what's my summary? EDR marginally improves your protection. It fantastically improves your insurance. And that's the way I would look at this. If you want insurance against a ransomware attack, EDR is the product that will deliver that. So we are finished with content. I hope you've found this interesting. This is my first attempt at demonstrating, so I don't know how well that's happened, but I'm going to now say we're finished with content today.